coming out. Appreciate it. First of all, I don't know. I'm glad you guys are all okay, but I've never seen anything like I saw this morning. So I hope everyone's okay. It was, out in Waverly. It was. I mean, it was blowing. I got about 4:45. I got up and went and sat outside and listened to it. So I hope everyone's okay and treating power lines and everything is put back up. So appreciate all the people who do that for us. First scrimmage today. I'll answer all those questions about it. Great first scrimmage. Just a couple injury updates. Unfortunately, Bly Hill and Gage Stinger will be out for the year. So both got injured. Bly had that patella once before, and unfortunately, just re-injured the patella in a non-contact play a couple days ago. So he was doing really well. He was playing really well, and our heart breaks for him. And Gage Stinger, just the heartbeat. The epitome of what it means to be a Husker, a leader on the team. Just a grinder and a guy that was going to play a lot of football, especially on the special teams for us. So hate that he also hurt his knee as well. So very, very, very unfortunate. But, we believe in both those guys as people. We know who they are. We know that they'll both be back. We're here to support them in every way. But aside from that, obviously Mac and those two guys, the rest of the team pretty healthy with a couple guys, some soft tissue strains, but most guys trending towards being able to play in the first ball game. So with that, I'll answer any questions you guys have.
The storm affect practice at all?
Yeah, we had I think the way it works is if it's within 30 miles. Susan, is that right, Susan?
8 miles.
If it's within 8 miles, we have to leave the field, and we did not want to practice in the indoors, so we just kind of held the guys as if it was a lightning delay, and I think I only held them for maybe 15 minutes. What? 20. I probably should know that better, but about 24 minutes. So we were able to get on and off the field really efficiently. Just a credit to the fields that we were able to withstand all that rain and still go outside on the grass and practice and have a really great practice field. So, but just really about a 24-minute delay, and obviously there was no lightning here at that time, but still within 8 miles.
Without seeing film, I know a lot. It's just impressions. But what were your main takeaways from the scrimmage?
I thought we were really, 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 really efficient on offense. I thought we were able to both run the ball and throw the ball. The one caveat to that is that when the quarterback's not live, sometimes guys are blitzing and running by, and I'm saying stay off him. So, to stop a guy like Dylan, you're going to have to get to the quarterback and affect the quarterback. So there's probably a lot of plays where, guys are blitzing, they have to pull up. And I just think on defense, a lot of good things being done on defense. I just think we have to continue to tackle. We have some elite running backs, and it's really hard to tackle those guys. And so our tackling is something that has to improve based upon we did a Wednesday short yardage live period and today's live period, and we just need those reps. It's the first week of tackling. We're gonna have to really improve that this week. You think about it, really 5 more practices till training camp is over, and 9 practices until we start game week. So when I say over, like next Saturday, kind of. As you get in the next week, you start a little bit of game planning for 4 days and then game planning full out. So we have a real sense of urgency, and I think tackling is probably the main thing. And then we got some punt, we got some field goals. Really pleased with the field goal operation today. And it looked like the punt. I've never enjoyed the punt periods in my life, but it's my favorite period of practice right now. I just could watch Archie punt all day. I've never seen anything like it. So it's like watching a YouTube short. I mean, the guy's amazing. So what he does. So I used to walk over the O-line during punt period or kind of stand to the side. Now I'm out there like with popcorn because it's really a fun thing to watch. I hope we don't punt a lot, but when we do, it'll be fun.
When you say he's amazing, is it because of the distance and accuracy, or just the fact that he's can do it with both feet, or what specifically amazes you about his
Okay, so think about this. We're going to go to Arrowhead Stadium and play at 8 o'clock at night with a kicker who can kick with both feet and kick all the kicks. It'll be the first ever football game he's ever played in, I believe. He's never played in a football game before. Now, he might come up and say, no, I played in, to what Eck told me last night, I knew he was at Pro Kick or whatever, is it Pro Kick? Someone wrote a story about it, right? Pro Kick? I don't want to make sure thank you, Pro Kick. But he's never played in a game before. It'll be his first ever football game. I mean, and he knows every player on the team's name. He's 18 years old. He left his country. He left his family to come here to play a sport he's never played before. There's not a guy on the team that doesn't love him because of his personality, not just because of what he do. So I think, Mitch, it's a multifaceted thing. He's one of the coolest dudes around. He's got so much juice. He's one. Sometimes I'll say something. A lot of guys are like afraid. He'll come back at me with the most witty, retort. And then, you've seen before when we did Chasing Three last year, we'd have like talent shows and guys get up and sing. Well, the one team meeting, I wasn't there. We had a head coaches meeting. Susan ran it, and he got up and he sang Piano Man. And it's like, the guy crushed it. So, like, he's just like the most interesting man in the world to me. But I think what's cool about it is just what he can do and the system. Like, we've got athletes out there. He's rolling left. He's rolling right. He can straight punt. He can directional punt. He can banana kick, as I said last time. So there's just a lot of different things. And you can see the guys back there catching punts. Jacory, Mosee, Caleb Benning, Andrew Marshall. I might be forgetting one, but those guys are having to catch all those kicks. So I think we're going to be way better. And we haven't even introduced the south side of the stadium wind yet. So I think it's going to be a really interesting dynamic.
How's the tackle battle, particularly the left tackle battle, shaping up in your eyes, Pritchett and Gunner?
I don't think we're close to being settled. I don't think we're close to being settled at any point. I think really it comes down like this. This is like for the first assessment, right? This is like your midterm. Really, next week's scrimmage is kind of like your final, and you go from there. Pritchett's doing a really nice job. Gunner's doing a really nice job. And as you know, at the other side, like if they're the two best tackles, we'll slide one over to right. So it's really a four-way tackle battle with some other guys fighting to get in too, obviously. But Turner's getting more and more cleared every day. He was able to do the most amount at practice. Now, he couldn't scrimmage with the most amount of reps yesterday that he could do in terms of some of the things he could get involved in. Teddy Prohaska is looking healthy and out there, and he's doing a nice job. Tyler Canuck's doing a nice job. So, I think this week is a really pivotal week. So I'll have to watch this tape to see. But I think heading into this week, it's a really important time for all four of those tackles.
Matt, you said that you were also impressed with the place kicking operations. Who, in terms of those place kickers, has stood out to you?
They all have. They all have done a really nice job. You go back and look at. It's funny. I had Eck and Brett come in my office yesterday. We missed a field goal in an overtime game against Illinois last year. We missed a field goal with, I think it was 5 minutes left in the third quarter against Iowa last year. We missed a field goal 5 minutes left in the fourth quarter. Maybe it was earlier against Iowa. We missed a field goal against UCLA at the half. Missed a field goal against Wisconsin 2 years ago, heading into halftime, and we missed the extra point against UCLA. Last year, and then we missed a field goal against Iowa 2 years ago. We lost 13-10. So you're gonna miss field goals, but a lot of those also had bad snaps. Just operation, was all a part of it. Not all of them. I'm not placing it on any one person, but so when I look at it right now, I'm looking at the total operation. I'm looking at the snap, the hold, the kick. I'll have to say Camden's doing a fantastic job holding. Like, he's a special holder. He's taking tremendous pride in it. Obviously, his dad, Sam's, probably taught him that at a young age, and he's doing a great job. And then Jalen Gramstad's doing a great job as the backup holder. And I think that's as important. Sometimes we just look at like the easiest thing, the kicker, and sometimes I do. But having a guy like Brett around and a guy like Eck around, talking about all the different details, the wings, the tight ends, the double bump, the inside, not allowing push. We get a lot of live field goal reps here. We believe in that, and those guys, the whole operation's been good. And I think I don't even know if we missed one today. So I think we're just now having to start to push that distance out. We've been really good inside the 30-yard line. So field goals going out to in the mid 40s, but. Now we're starting to push it out. Hey, can we make that 52-yarder as the game expires? Can we make that 53-yarder? So that's sort of our next steps heading into this week.
Matt, you said your running backs are really hard to tackle. Is that just Emmett, or does the whole group have quite a bit of?
No, yeah, there's a misconception out there. We got great backs. Yeah. If anybody doesn't think we have three great backs, then can't wait for them to see these guys. Mosee's a dude. Mekhi might be one of the fastest guys I've ever seen going from, first 5 steps. Now they have to go do it in the games, right? Like, I'm just talking about in practice right now. But I think that's a loaded room for us. Kenneth Williams is out there balling. Connor Booth, tell you what, he's just gaining his stride right now. So Emmett obviously has like some pelts on the wall and some pedigree being out there, but Mosee and Mekhi are making a tremendous push. Quinton's still out, so we're hoping we get Quinton back this week. But those other guys have just raced ahead, and they both can catch the ball out of the backfield, and they both can protect. EJ does such a good job. Like, you can't play on our offense if you can't protect, and so they do a nice job of that. But we moved Genatone over to tailback. So we have a 230-pound guy that runs 22.5 miles per hour. So he had some good runs today, and we're hoping he can. I'm hoping he can get in that I formation and short yardage and go get that yard when you need it. I know Emmett can, but can we have another guy like Genatone that can? So I'm really pleased with that room. I have some concerns. That's not the concern for me.
So Nelson and Mosee are the two who stepped up the most?
Yeah, they've gotten the most opportunities, right? And so, you know, Mosee was going with the Tuesday, and I threw him out and I said, put him with Black, like put him with the first group. I mean, he's every single day. Here, I'd say this: most of our guys are like this. We had Troy Vincent Sr. You know, and I say Troy Vincent Sr. because his son Troy Vincent Jr. works for us. But you know, the NFL executive vice president of football operations. He came in and he was talking about a lot of things in terms of conduct and you know demeanor on the field and all that. But he was also talking a lot about like being a pro and obviously you know he's in the Pro Football Hall of Fame ballot as a player and now he's the number 2 guy at the NFL. But he talked a lot about you know. Guys who are willing, like I'm the left tackle, and they say, hey, go over and play right tackle. And how in today's day and age, some guys will say, no, I don't want to do that. They don't want to look bad. I could put Isaiah Mosee, I'd say, hey, go play corner right now. And he wouldn't say, like, well, what's the defense? He'd put his helmet on, he'd run out there and play corner. And, you know, it's easy to say he's a coach's kid, but, you know, I think I would not be giving him enough credit. He just loves football. And so he's done a great job. Mackay, you know, Dana kind of aired out some of his concerns about Mackay at the end of the spring. A credit to Mackay's parents. Like, you know, they are wonderful parents who, you know, they don't make excuses. And Mackay didn't make excuses. And from the spring till now, the jump that he's made, like, off the field in the classroom, he's a wonderful kid. But, like, you know, you're young, you know, going to class he's handled everything like a pro all summer, and he's playing great right now. So I think those are the two. And then you have Kenneth, Connor, Vincent. Those guys are also, you know, playing at a really good level.
Since you're talking about Isaiah, can you circle back and talk about Jamar and what he's brought to your program over the past year, and you know, especially opening the season in Kansas City and with as much attention as you paid to that city since Jamar got here? What kind of an impact has there been, and what do you think about like the fact that you're playing in that town?
Yes, thank you. I'll say this: the first time I met Jamar Mosee, we were going there because obviously they had Isaiah, but they had some older guys. You know, they had Williams was the same year, but they had some other guys. And I remember talking to him, and we were talking about music, and we were talking about books, and we were talking about coaching. And I walked out, and I can't remember which coach I was with. And I said, I would hire that guy. And if you go back and look at my history, I'm the first-year head coach at Temple. I hired Terry Smith, who's now the secondary coach at Penn State. I hired a high school coach right off the bat. Boom. I think high school coaches are the best coaches in football. You know, my dad was a high school teacher and coach, and besides being a minister, my uncle's in the Pennsylvania High School Coaches Hall of Fame. My cousin went to the state championship game as the head coach at Bishop Carroll. I love high school football coaches. I go to Baylor. I hire 3 Texas high school football coaches right off the bat. Joey McGuire now is the head coach at Texas Tech. Like, they do everything. They don't just coach. They lead. They mentor. They're not in it for the money. They're in it because they love the game. They love coaching. So I'm always looking for guys like that. And, you know, obviously when I first got here, I hired Bob Wager, who I think is a great coach. And I believe he's at TCU right now. When I met Jamar, I said I would hire him. It was unique because, you know, his son was also coming up. But, you know, he went to UCF because they recognized what he could do. And I just love his demeanor and his personality. So we hired him while Isaiah was committed somewhere else. And, you know, since the day he's been here, obviously he has a tremendous ability to help us in recruiting. He's also a really good football coach. He's been willing to move around multiple positions. But here's what I want to say. He came and he spoke to our team the other day. So I give coaches a different chance to speak to the team in the team meetings. Like, they don't need to listen to me all the time. And it was probably the best I've ever heard a position coach talk to the team. It was mesmerizing. It was absolutely mesmerizing. We had Jerry Madelon with us, who was doing some media training. Jerry's 30-year producer at ESPN, 7 Emmys, now an NFL network. He started working with me at Carolina to help me as I was under the gun in Carolina. And, you know, I just, you know, things weren't going well. And so he works with a lot of guys who work with me in terms of presentation. So I brought him in to help our players, or do, you know, every year we do media training. And he sat in the back and he was like, oh my gosh, who was that? So it would not be doing him a disservice to say, well, Coach Mosee's a great recruiter. He's great with the guys. He's great at everything he does. He has one role right now. When I got up, and I don't want to embarrass him, but I want to embarrass him. As I walked up, I said to the guys, because he talked about, Mitch, hey, this is my role right now. But someday I want a bigger role, but I'm going to accept this role and attack this role. I said to the guys, I said, does anyone doubt that he'd be a great college football head coach? And every kid was like, yes. Because our job is really to have a vision, to put it into place, to communicate with the players. He's amazing at that. Kansas City is a really important place for us, out into St. Louis. I have, you know, when I got here, a lot of the Kansas City high school coaches had talked about how we hadn't been there for a while. I have to give a lot of credit to Bill Bush. Bill Bush opened that back up, you know, so he went out, he got Jaden, he got some guys, and a lot of coaches said, hey, it's great to have him back. You know, we started going down. I would fly down and speak at a clinic. Rob was doing a good job down there. Keith Williams is a game changer for us. But having Jamar there, I think the relationships are important. that game against Cincinnati, it was a COVID game. You know, we were talking at first on the previous administration about returning the game here, and I was like, let's do a neutral site game, which is, that's what Alabama does. That's what those guys do. They do neutral site non-conference games. I wanted St. Louis or Kansas City. It wasn't available at first, Indianapolis. And then when Troy came in, he found a way to make it happen. So there's nothing more important to us than Kansas City, St. Louis, those areas in recruiting, right? It's so close, it's drivable. And I think Jamar lends a lot of credibility. But also, not even as a coach, the fact that his son is here and the experience that his son is having, as a father, he can talk to other people and say, hey, look, my son's growing. He's developing on and off the field. So it's a pleasure to have him. But I just want to make sure I say this again. The very first day I ever met him, I said I would hire that guy just because I could tell what he's made of and the character that he's built of and the way he sees coaching young people.
Do you remember when that was?
It would be, I can't go out in the spring, so it'd be the winter when my first year when I was first here, like the first winter that I went out. And so then you fast forward to the next winter, and then then he went to UCF, and then I kept talking about a job. And then once they changed the rules where, there were no limits on position coaches and who could recruit and all that, it just made it worthwhile to go get him and obviously guys like Keith and some other guys who were able to expand the rules.
Really, 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 really efficient on offense, you said? Of the quarter-
Did I say it 4 times?
4 or 5.
We'll watch that tape back.
It's what the quarterback picture looked like there.
Yeah, I mean, I thought Dylan was excellent. It's scrimmage 1, so we'll have to continue to grow. But I thought Dylan was excellent in the situations. He's been really good all camp. Jalen Gramstad's doing a really nice job. He knows where the ball's supposed to go. He can throw. He gets the ball there. Jalen's also a really good athlete. He can run. He played safety, I think, his first year at his previous school, so he can move and run and change the pocket. Really pleased with TJ Lateef. For a young player, you can tell he played like big-time football, and you can tell he's been coached because not many things rattle him. A lot of things with the young players, can they handle the frustration of not much affects TJ, and then you could just constantly see Dylan pouring into TJ while he's out there. Like TJ scored we have a play that we run, and one of the options is the quarterback running the ball, which is kind of like one of those things that you say is an option but never really happens, and TJ did it, and Dylan went nuts for him. So they have such a great relationship, and then Marcos and Luke doing a really nice job. So I think the quarterback room has done a really nice job of everything that they're doing. And I think one of the biggest reasons why is Dylan does things, non-physical things at a really high level, makes the check, reads the defense. He's lucky he has John Butler who walks him through, hey, this is what we're doing, right? They have a great relationship. John Butler's one of the smartest people I've ever been around in my life. He's brilliant. Sometimes brilliant people can make things very complicated. He doesn't. He's able to simplify it, but he loves talking to Dylan. And so they're kind of it really is like a chess match between the two of them. And but as a result, what Glenn has not allowed, he doesn't allow it to be like, well, that's just Dylan. No, that's the quarterback at Nebraska. So Jalen, you better do the same. Better make the same checks. Hey, TJ, you better flip the protection. You better know when you're hot. You better sight adjust. So it's not just like a Dylan thing. It's a quarterback thing. But the great thing is Dylan's just sprinting and leading the way, and the other guys are having to catch up. If they didn't see Dylan doing that, we would probably be much more remedial. But they see Dylan doing it, so as a result, they all want to do it. So I think we're doing really nice things in the quarterback room.
When you're picking guys on the back end of the defense, how do you balance, obviously, having the skill to play there, but also their ability to communicate and the chemistry with that?
Yeah, I mean, I think playing defense is really, really simple, right? It's about playing really hard with shocking effort, being really physical, having the courage when the ball's coming at you not to panic, but to trust your technique and trust yourself, which is a really hard thing. It's about knowing and doing your assignment. And when you think about coaches always say the word execution. We define that for our players, man. It's number one, knowing and doing your alignment and assignment. Number two, it's utilizing the correct technique correctly. Coach tells you to step and replace or backpedal, do that. It's about making high-speed decisions, and that's where we all get lost. We all go to as coaches, we all go to rivals. This kid runs 4.3, this kid runs 4.4, this kid runs 4.5. But who can tactically, not technically, who can tactically adjust to what they're seeing and make the right decision? We can't rep everything, so who can think properly? Who has situational awareness, football intelligence? And then finally, who can win in the winning moments? If you don't line up right, I don't care how talented you are. And if you line up right, I lined up right all the time, I couldn't win the winning moments. That's why I was on the punt team, not a starting linebacker at Penn State. So there's this continuum. Sierre and Andrew Marshall have been the starters at corner with, Marquise, Malcolm, and Deshaun, who played a ton of football for us. Sierra, Marshall, they practiced every day, and they got a little tight at the end of this week. So we put some of the young guys out there, right? Especially with Bly out, we put Amari, we put Donnie Jones, we put Jeremiah Charles, who I think is really coming on, and several other guys, and we've been playing them out there, and so we're just trying to build the depth, build the level of play. You can be a backup 1 minute and the start of the next. So, but I do know this in the secondary, it's not really necessarily always your talent. It's the things you talked about. It's your execution. It's your communication, which is part of execution. It's knowing what to do. Last year we gave up too many big plays, and we gave up too many big plays after a first down. So like we'd give up a first down and something would happen. And you go back to Illinois, you go back to Indiana, you go back to USC, gave up early touchdowns on deep balls that never should have happened, right? A guy just not really playing the way we want to play. So I think that dependability is as important as anything. But we do like the depth, and I think a lot of guys are coming on.
What are the guys on the D line besides kind of that core four guys we always talk about that are
Who are the two of the four? Like
I guess with
Keona.
Judy, Keona, Lenhart.
Yep, yeah, those four. You have the jack position, which is like Desan.
Yeah.
I think you look at that jack position, it's Desan, Willis, Jordan Ochoa, with Dylan Rogers making a real push right now. Really pleased with Dylan. You look at you talked about, Riley, you talked about Keona's having a great camp. You talked about Cam, I think he's playing really good football. Will is, Will has all the physical gifts. It's just his focus has been his motor. I'm really pleased with his motor. He's flying around. Tremendous pass rusher, tremendous run defender. He's coming on. I think you have some guys making steps. You have, David Hufkun, Sua Lafotu, Mason Goldman, Ashton Murphy. Just a lot of those guys are just young, and so they're still trying to figure out, am I good or not? You're good. Go play, right? You're good. So, and I don't want to minimize some of the other guys that are playing. Just I think we have a lot of guys that are battling to get in the rep rotation. We're not going to be able to do like we did last year and play Ty and Nash, 55, 60 plays. We really didn't do that the first year, though. We had a really good defense. We played guys 30 to 45 plays, so I think it'll be sort of that type of a deal. And then, we're playing a bunch of different fronts and personnel groupings. So John and Terry, Phil Simpson, sometimes we have 2 jacks on the field. Sometimes we have 4 pure D linemen on the field. So we're doing a bunch. Sometimes we have 5. So we're doing a bunch of different things to get players on the field and helping guys find their role. So I think a lot of those guys are coming on.
Going back to the running backs, you said with Quinton out that the other guys have sort of raced out a little bit to start. When Quinton comes back, I guess, how much catching up do you feel like he's going to have to get back?
We know Quinton's talented. I think it's just, like I said, we have 5 days left of like pure training camp, right? We have 9 days left till game week. So it comes down to, where you are at that time. You can't control when you have an injury. You can certainly try to prehab and not get hurt and sleep and hydrate and do all things that, if you get 8 hours of sleep, if you get less than 8 hours of sleep, you're 1.7 times more likely is what Mitch tells the guys to get an injury. So I guess that's almost twice. I'm not great with math, but that's almost twice. And so, you can try your best to avoid injuries. When you have it, you have to rehab and get back as soon as possible. But, on good teams, we think, we are a good team. On good teams, there's a lot of competition. And if you are out for a while, someone else is going to step up, and that's their chance. And so if we went into a game right now, it would be those 3 guys would be playing the majority of the snaps. I don't know what tomorrow could bring. A guy could pull his hamstring tomorrow. They could walk in and say so-and-so hurt his hand. So I never get too caught up in the depth, especially early on. I'm more like, hey, everyone get better. And I don't like when the players get caught up in the depth. They're like, well, this guy's here, this guy's here. Just, am I a great player? If I'm not a great player, become a great player, and we'll find a way to get great players on the field. So I do think he has some catching up to do. I do think, and that's not about him. It's just about what the other guys have done. They've done a great job. But we'll need a lot of guys this year. It's going to be a physical year. We play some great teams.
Matt, as you enter the 3rd week, what's going to be your emphasis to the team? You mentioned this portion of the heart of camp. What are you going to tell the guys?
I think a lot of it's me watching the tape first. As I think I said to them, I said, coming out of scrimmage, it's what did I do well? What did I not do well? What do I need to improve upon? And what's my plan? I think as I look at it, defensively, it's just certainly continuing to tackle, right? Continuing to run the right angles and tackle. Continuing to, situational football. We've been doing a lot of 2-minute stuff. We didn't do any today. It was more like 1st and 2nd down, red zone. And then we did work 2-point plays as if it was overtime. The kicking game, we got to continue to master the field goal and, field goal rush. So we'll try to get better at everything, but I think there's some key things, like I said, the the 2-minute end of game stuff on offense, and certainly on defense, tackling, and just continue to give the guys a chance to be game ready. Because the first football games, Cincinnati's an excellent team. The first game of the year usually comes down to tackling and special teams, and so we want to make sure we as coaches give the guys the best chance to do that.
How have you seen Javen Wright step up as a leader, just after everything he's been through, and also with these guys who are talented young linebackers, but are maybe 5-6 years younger than him?
I was we start off in the mornings like special teams on the field, and we have that huge screen. We're blessed with the facilities we have, and so Eck does a meeting. So I went over and I kind of sat down next to Javen, and I was talking about how old I feel. They got me working out in the mornings, and I was like, I thought when you worked out you're supposed to feel better. And he was laughing. He's like, Coach, I said, man, you look at you. You're going away. You're 5'6". He said, no, Coach, I'm on year 7. I've done 2 college football careers. I used to watch every player's press conferences. I don't have the time to do that anymore. But I used to love to hear what the players are saying, because if they're saying what I'm saying, then I know we're resonating, right? If they're saying something different, I know I either have to adapt what I'm saying or speak differently. I certainly don't tell them what to say. I just, from them, they tell you the truth. I just don't have the time to do that anymore. But when Javen's on, I love watching him. Like that smile, that beam, he just is. He's a amazing guy. And it was a year ago, right around now. I was sitting there. His dad Toby was in there in the room. He was in there. I was in there, and we were all crying, right? And it was like, man, maybe we'll have a chance to play against USC. And credit to Dr. Mathiasen and the doctor in North Carolina. I'm so sorry I don't remember his name. He's the one who did Trey Smith. To have a chance to get him back last year, and then, I think he's just doing a great job. But when he talked to you guys yesterday, that's the biggest thing. Is like, so often our kids are playing football to please people, to take care of somebody, to get something, and that just puts an amazing yoke on you, a burden on you. And Javen's playing on borrowed time, right? He had it taken from them. He's playing for the joy and passion of playing, and so that's infectious to those guys. I think for me, like the pressure of this job. Not Nebraska, of being a head football coach and of feeling like, man, I walk in the building, there's 100 people every day, staff-wise, and there's 120 players that are depending on me to do a good job. That can make you start to walk around like this. But like if I can connect to the joy and passion of being out there, and it's sometimes it's adversity that brings that out for Javen. Like when they told me Mac tore his ACL, man, I walked into Drew's office and he was in there on the phone with his dad, and I just sat down in the middle of practice, put my arm around him, and we didn't say anything for like 10 minutes, man. So, that's the thing for me. Like, sometimes I might get defensive when people say stuff about our players, just because I see them in those moments, and I know how much they're carrying on their shoulders. And so, when something gets taken away from you, forget it. For me, just remembering, just to have fun with this. This is probably a lot of old players. This is probably the most fun I've had with a team in a long time, and that's no shot at anybody else. This team is filled with guys like. Literally, Dylan was chasing me off the field, like almost cussing at me because I wouldn't let them have any more plays. I said, "You get 40 plays today." They got to 41. He wanted 6 more plays. Emmett was mad because he only got however many reps. He wanted more reps. That's just the most fun. But I think it starts from guys like Javen. Javen's never going to be rah rah da 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 da. But man, he's going to walk around that locker room on mornings where you have to get here early with that beaming smile and that joy and not taking things for granted. And that's the biggest difference from last year's team to this year's team. Last year's team was a lot of times like, why are we doing this? Why are we doing? Well, my friend at so-and-so says we don't have to do this. And now I want the guys being like, hey, we do more than everybody else, and we're proud of it. Like, we're proud of what we do. So Javen and all the guys, I think this has been a fun camp. We'll see how this tape goes. Might not be fun tonight as we watch the practice tape, but that's part of the journey.
Anything else?
Thanks, guys. Good to see you, buddy.